Hey guys, Joe Pye here, Advanced Innovations, Austin, Texas. Welcome back to the little table saw project. Today I'm going to focus on part number 18. That is the belt shift guide, this little guy right here, and that is about actual size. Now the material that they provided in the kit for this is this little piece right here. So just make a square hole in it, bite a piece off, pop a couple of holes in there, split the end, and all is well. But, there's always a but, right? The but is that it gets hard to hold, hard to position, hard to machine, because it gets delicate. And you start smashing a 1/4-inch hole in the center of that and broaching that out, the pressure from the vise is going to want to collapse it, unless, of course, you trap it somehow, clamp it down. But I'm not going to do that. It was very nice of them to give me this free piece of material to make that, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to make it out of this. You've seen me do this in the past with many other components. I am going to hold this in a collet. I'm going to square it up accordingly, pop the hole in it, rotate it 90 degrees, pop that hole in it. And the only secondary required will be parting this thing off in the lathe. It doesn't look like a lathe part, does it? No, it doesn't. But after this is formed on the end of this rod, I'll use the parting tool to part that off. And the only secondary gripping operation will be that slot right there. This is an ideal piece for a spin indexer, but I'm not going to use a spin indexer because I'd have to mount the spin indexer vertically for this end hole right here. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use a collet block. I have a hex collet block and I have a square collet block and a variety of closer nuts to go with it. 3/8 collet, 3/8 material. I ground this broach up for past operations on other models, so it's real handy to have that. Got a little one on the end. That's a ball crank for the lathe, the drill press. I believe there's quite a few models that use that size. And this one right here will do that 250 through quite nicely. So let's get over to the mill, set it up, see how fast we can knock this thing out. Holding the part in a square collet block, I think it's pretty obvious to see why a spin indexer would have been the better choice. It's a little finicky moving the block every time you want to take a cut, but you do what you got to do. First phase of the operation is just to keep the cutter right where it is and flip the part and establish a known surface on both sides. Take it out, measure it, see how much more you need to relieve, and take your final cut to bring it to the widest dimension on the print. Now at this point, if you mark your dials or set your dials or pay attention to your dials, you don't really have to do anything else to find the other dimension. Just make the appropriate offset and away you go. But I never like to go right directly to the finished size on the first pass, especially with brass. It might have a tendency to pull up into the cutter and you end up with a tapered surface. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to see me take a second pass just to be sure that everything is nice and flat and any flex has not influenced the part. And brass is just such a joy to work with. I love working with that material. I'm going to remove the part from the machine at this point. I'm going to deburr these outer edges so I have good, reliable edges to measure from. And then I'll orient this part 90 degrees and do the end slot. I'll do the end protrusion, excuse me. I'm going to bite a piece off of there. I'm not going to slot it, not yet. Next step in the process is to locate the Y-axis center line for future operations. Now, if I were to have side milled this by flipping it, it would have been easy to find the center line without having to indicate or use an edge finder. Same way I did when I faced it off with the end mill. When I side milled it, I just moved in the radius of the cutter and re-zeroed my digital, and now I know I'm right over the end. Got the part positioned this way because I'm using an 1/8-inch center drill to drill this hole, to prepare this hole, and the shank of the 1/8-inch tool will not clear that step right there, so it has to be done from the back side. Keep that in mind if you're going to do this part. Very shallow angle on the indicator needle so that it doesn't jam. Looking at around 10 on the dial here, and around Around 10 on the dial there. Yep, I did set this up off camera just to illustrate how I'm doing it. Let's put a drill and a reamer in there, make that end hole, rotate it, put the square in. Okay, let's set up for the square. Ideally, the pilot hole for the broaching operation should be smaller than the feature and a little bit bigger than the diagonal measurement of the broach, if possible. With your mill in back gear set to the lowest RPM possible, indicate the face of the broach true to the feature. Ideally, on the broaching operation, start with the broach in the middle of the hole and nibble your way around the perimeter of the feature. There's something very satisfying watching that. I shot for about 3/1000ths over the width of the belt, and be sure that you have square corners on this particular part. If they're rounded or the radius is too big, you may influence the belt in a negative manner. I mean, fray the edges of the belt. So try to keep those faces as flat and sharp as possible. All right, with the broaching operation complete, I can now stand this block vertically, and I know right where that end hole is going to be. That was the only reason I didn't want to do this in a spin indexer. The locking screw, grub screw, set screw, whatever you want to call it, for this particular cross hole, the diameter of that locking screw is larger than the diameter of the cross hole. Now, so what, right? Well, what that means is when your flutes of your tap get down into the cross hole, when the tap flutes are in line with the hole, it's going to be very little resistance. When they're opposed or 90 degrees to the hole, that's when it's going to cut. So it's going to feel strange when it breaks through. Also, the diameter of the hole is very small, and the lead on the tap will not allow for a full thread. So this hole, unless you're going to drill it all the way through, and I don't see why you couldn't do that, you're going to need a bottom tap in order to provide enough threads for the grub screw to lock down on the adjuster shaft. And that is the bottom tap right there. Okay, off to the lathe. On an irregular part like this, it is highly recommended that you do not use your fingers. Use some alternate device, a cup. This is a cardboard tube that was supplied by a subscriber. Thank you very much for that. Cut at an angle on the end and it works fantastic, it really does. And if you want to save those chips for heat treating, that's another good way to collect them. Well, the sliding operation was quick and a little too finicky to get a good camera angle. But this is how it was done. See that the part is below the jaw surface. And I just ran the slitting saw directly in. Super light pressure on it. I didn't want to crush it. Ended up with an 050 slot right in the middle. Let's take it out, take a look. Well, there you go. Obviously, several different ways you could do this piece. I chose to do it in the collet block for sake of being able to orient the threaded hole on the end a little bit easier. And like I said before, you can see how close that hole is to being flush with that back face. So make sure if you're going to try to center drill that, you drill it from behind. They call that an 060 split on this side, just strictly to get the belt in. This is the little ditty that's going to change the belt from one pulley to another, from what I understand. So we can assume that this belt's going to be moving when it does that. Make sure the inside edges are nicely deburred. Bring it out, take your time. Not a big deal. If you want to see how I made that broach that I used in this video, I will put a link to that video below. I appreciate you spending some of your time with me today. wherever you are in the world. I hope you're well, happy, and safe, all the above. I'm Joe Pye at Advanced Innovations in Austin, Texas, checking another one off the list. I'm out.